we're going to take a closer look at some of the Windows settings that are available. To get into the Windows settings, you click the Start button and you choose Settings right here. Once you're in Windows, let's take a look at this system icon right here. You see that it says Display, Sound, Notification, and Power. The system icon allows you to control display settings, notifications, power, and sleep options. So let's go inside there and let's look at our display settings right here. And we are going to look at this section right here that says Display Resolution. So when you think about adjusting your screen resolution, what you're doing is you're determining the number of pixels that are going to be used on your screen, and this affects the icons and other screen elements and how they appear. What I want you to imagine is that your desktop has a grid filled with rows and columns, and then I want you to imagine 1,920 pixels going across every single row, and then 1,080 pixels going down every single column. These dots, basically, these pixels are what determine how clear your and how rich and detailed your images are going to be on your computer. So obviously the higher number of pixels, the better. Okay, and that can be changed by just clicking this drop down arrow and then selecting which screen resolution that you want. Another thing that we want to talk about in this section is power and sleep. If you come into the power and sleep section, I want you to notice here it says screen and right here it says sleep. So if you are running just on a battery instead of being plugged into a wall socket, you can determine how many minutes before your computer monitor goes to sleep. This isn't going to save a lot of power. It still consumes power, but it saves a little bit. Whereas this one, if you choose to put the computer to sleep, this will save a little bit more power. Again, if you're running on battery, it will go to sleep after so many minutes, and all your programs will remain open. It's just that the computer is asleep, so it's going to consume less energy, and then when you want to get back to work, you just push that power button and you'll be back in. So those are just a couple of things that you might want to know about when you come into the settings, the display settings. And then the one right next to it here, it says devices. So this one allows you to connect devices such as printers or scanners. Maybe you want to connect your keyboard or your mouse or any other type of device, connect your Bluetooth. If you click on this one, I'll just show you really quick that you can go into printers and scanners, and right here you would just choose add a printer, and this would give you on-screen directions on how you would go about adding a printer to your computer system. All right, I'm going to go ahead and click back for that one. And the next one that I want to look at is right here. It says Network and Internet. If you click on this one, this is what allows you to change your connection properties, show available networks, and once you click the Show Available Networks, it shows any broadcasting of the networks in your area, and then you would select it, and you would connect to it and type in the password and such. You can also, from this section, go into airplane mode. You can connect to mobile hotspots. You can set up your VPN. So I'm going to go ahead and go back to the main screen there. Let's go over here to personalization. A lot of people have fun in this area and really make their computer their own by coming into, let's say, the background and changing. So if I click background right here, I can change what my computer screen desktop looks like. So right now you could see this color, and if I minimize down, I can see the desktop. Okay. If I go back into settings and then I choose right here, instead of solid color, let's say I want to have one of my own personal pictures, I can then go into here and I could choose from any of the pictures that are listed, and that would be what shows on my desktop now. Okay. I actually just like to have a plain background because I like just a solid color myself. So I'm just going to choose solid color there. I'm going to click on lock screen here. So this is the first screen that you see after you boot up your computer. So as soon as you boot your computer and it's booting to Windows, you get a lock screen. Now, you can have this be one of the Windows Spotlight pictures, or again, you could go in and you can choose one of your own pictures, and that's what you would see then when you boot up your computer. Now, you know, a lock screen, once you press the escape key, it then takes you to the login screen, and then the login screen is where you type in your password information. So those are just a couple of things that are listed inside of your personalization section. Another thing that we could talk about, let's go back, is the apps. So let's say you have an app that is installed, but you either no longer need the app or you need to remove it and try to reinstall it. You can go ahead and click on the app, and you could choose uninstall to get rid of it, or you could choose modify, and eventually it goes through this process and would allow you to repair it if you wanted to see if you can just fix maybe a sluggish program. So I'm going to go ahead and go back. Okay, the next one we're going to talk about is accounts. On this one, you can see that this one is my account. You have different sign-in options depending on what type of computer system you have. I have the ability to type in a PIN or type in a password. Some computers you can do facial recognition or fingerprint recognition and things like that, and those are listed right here. And you have other options for your sign-in. If you want to add new users to your computer, you can go to Family and Other Users. If you want to add family, you can click this. If you want to add someone else to the PC, you could click this. Keep in mind that with any Windows operating system, you can use any Microsoft account. If you already have a OneDrive account, a Skype, an Xbox, or a Hotmail, or an Outlook account, an Office 365 account, those are all Microsoft accounts. So you can easily go into add someone to this computer, and you would just simply type in their Microsoft account information here and get them set up. If they don't have a Microsoft account, they'll prompt you to create one. And if you don't want to create that you can just simply create a new user using a username and password. The control panel is still available in the Windows 10 operating system, but it's not as easily accessible as it used to be. It is buried down here. If you go to the Start menu and you scroll down to the Windows folder and you look under Windows System, and you'll see Control Panel here. The control panel used to be where you change all of your settings, but now we're pretty much using the settings button right here. Almost everything from the control panel has been incorporated into the settings panel, but not every single tool. So some people still might need to use the control panel to perform certain tasks. So it is still listed there, but it's considered legacy software, meaning it's not something that we're using that much anymore with Windows. You also have the ability to back up your files. You have the ability to restore a backup, and you have ability to adjust file permissions. So I think I showed you inside of the Windows settings that this area right here, update and security, is where you would go to do a backup. And so I'm not going to perform a backup right now, but if I click backup here, basically you could plug in a drive and you can back up to that drive. I like to use external hard drives, and then after you perform your backup, you should put it in a separate location than your computer. So say you have a fire in your house, you want to make sure that the backup of your files is stored somewhere else. A lot of people store their external hard drives in their house with their computer. Instead, if you have a safe out in your garage or out in the shed or something like that, maybe you could store it in a different location. And that would help to plug in that drive and then just choose add a drive, and you plug in the drive and you decide which things that you want to back up. And then if you ever need to restore to it, you would come to the same place here and you would be able to restore. You can also use another feature, which is this go to backup and restore right here, and perform your backup and your restore that way. As far as adjusting file permissions, you can go into any folder where files are stored. You can select the file. You could go to to home, and then go to properties right here and choose properties. And then from here, you would choose security and then edit. And then you click on the user account that you're setting these permissions for. And down here, you would choose whether you allow or deny the permissions for specific files.